Hey guys, welcome to Design+Style, a podcast for designers by designers. I am Dixie from Dixie Willard Design, and with me here, of course, as always, is the lovely
Rachel Moriarty from Rachel Moriarty Interiors.
Welcome. I
Hello.
was
How are you
about to say good morning, but it's not even morning here, and I don't know when you all are listening or watching. So, hi. Today we are going to be talking about getting in that uncomfortable zone and staying there because I don't know about you, but growth never happens when you're comfortable.
Nope. So, sorry, sorry for the uncomfortable pause, listeners. I had something going on with my eyeball. The reason Dixie and I are talking about this is because when you become a design firm and a personal brand, there's no more hiding. There's no more hiding.
You can try, but you will become the face of your business.
You have to be the face of your business. Absolutely. And, with whatever face God has given you,
Absolutely. You can enhance it a little bit with some makeup, but there's...
Yeah, but other than that,
just work with it.
So I remember the first thing that really got us in our uncomfortable zone was when we started blogging. Dixie and I both started our blogs around the same time.
Yeah.
And I just remember hitting publish, probably like the first 5 times I hit publish. I was so scared.
Well, yeah, because even though you know your stuff, you sometimes still feel like, who am I to tell people about this? Plus, if you're blogging the right way, you're sharing part of yourself, and that's super uncomfortable. You're letting people see who you really are and, hoping they like you. And what if they don't? And there's all of those fears that go along with it.
One thing that is kind of controversial in the blogosphere world is the whole comments thing. And I actually, when I started publishing my blog, I turned off the comments, and I have never turned them on.
Really?
You really?
Yeah.
I know. Isn't that funny? And I had heard a couple of people that I followed, that I read their blogs. I love them. They were artists and makers, and even had branding companies for creative entrepreneurs. They mentioned, I think I heard them on podcasts or interviews or something like that, that they turned off the comments. And that, I don't think they were necessarily getting bad comments on their blogs, but it almost... we're really writing. We are writing to share content. We're writing to give tips, but we're also writing for behind the scenes. We're writing things about sharing our inspiration. Mm-hmm. We're showing our work. And in order for me to do that in the beginning, I had to turn off the comments. It had to be a one-way thing for me to get used to it. I wasn't ready for the feedback. Mm-hmm. But once I got into it, I share my blog through Facebook, and Facebook is where I live. And so if somebody wants to comment, I actually would just prefer them do it on Facebook, because I don't go to my blog to check. I don't check comments on my blogs anyways.
Right.
Well, I've never had them, but I sort of live on Facebook. And so that's where I invite people to talk to me about things. And now, gosh, I've been blogging for like 2 years, I think. Has it been about 2 years? Yeah, it has to be. Almost a year and a half.
I might have started a little bit after you, but it was still pretty close because it's been a little over a year for me.
Yeah. So maybe a year and a half. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so that's what I did. That was my step 1 into the uncomfortable zone. So, for me, I would just suggest you have to have a blog. I mean, you
Absolutely
have to have a blog if you are an interior designer, decorator, stylist, you know, it's just the way the world works online, and for Google to be able to, you know, find you, and it keeps your information current on your website. But
it's a great way for your potential clients to get to know you, which is something I've heard. I don't know about you, but I've heard when I meet people, the first thing they say is, oh, I went to your website and I read your blog and I loved what you said about this, or it's so nice to know that you feel this way. So it's a way to have kind of get that conversation started before you ever actually meet.
yes, I believe so much in, I know when I hire people, whether it's a business coach, usually I'm talking about a business coach, they have to have a lot of content out there. And what I will do is consume their free content first. I will watch all their YouTube videos. I will listen to their podcasts. I will read their blogs, follow them on social media. And then I hit a point where I actually need to like make that step, but I trust them and I know them so well at that point that I have no problem pulling out my wallet and, you know, I mean, it's a big ask, you know what I mean? Paying for some of these coaches is a big investment. And so,
and the same thing for our clients,
and the same thing for an interior designer. It is not, our services are not inexpensive. And so I believe that that is one of the things you have to do. You have to put, you have to put so much content out there that when somebody has that discovery call with you, really you're kind of seeing if they'll fit you, you know, if they're a good client for you, because they already know they want to hire you. They've read your blog and all that stuff. And really that discovery call is, does my skill set work with what your project is? That's number one, because that's got to fit. And do we jive? You know what I mean? Exactly. That's the other thing. So that's super important.
So that is really the huge payoff that comes from making yourself vulnerable as in going into that uncomfortable zone of putting your own personality into whatever you're writing. You don't want it to come off as a textbook. You want it to come off as if you're having a conversation with this person.
Yeah.
And the payoff is that it actually helps qualify your clients before they come to you, because the people that are going to clash with you the most are going to know that up front, and they're not even going to say hello. They're just going to keep on going, which makes your life easier, because then you've got more time for the good people, the people you really want.
Exactly. So that the blog can be hard, because I think you don't realize when you go into being a solo designer that you're going to have to write.
Oh,
I had no idea some of the hats I was going to wear. And not that I'm a bad writer, but I just didn't really, I was never trained in writing. And I am a very conversational writer. And, there's something about, like, I remember just feeling like the little gremlins, like, telling me, well, you don't know how to write. Well, what if, you know what I mean? And so just worrying that people are going to pick it apart. It has never happened. Let me just say that.
Nobody has said, oh my gosh, you have a typo right here and you used this word in the wrong way, or they don't care. They're reading it because they want the information, not because you're not in high school. It's not college. You're not getting a grade for it.
Exactly. And the other thing is, I forgot the other thing.
Well, the one thing is they get to know you. The other thing, I guess the other thing is that you show yourself to be an expert. Like, they get to know that you do know your stuff. It does help in that way, and that you're showing that you really do. You know what you're talking about. And it actually helps not just potential clients, but all kinds of other people who want to work with you get to know you better and know that they can trust what you're saying.
So we hear that word a lot, or not that word, but that phrase, the know, like, and trust factor.
Yes.
And that is, I think, the beginning steps of getting uncomfortable is your blog. But step number 2, you got to step it up a little bit. And And you got to do it pretty quickly because of where we're at in social media.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it was already happening with YouTube. Video is a huge,
Mm-hmm.
it's a must to me in your business now. YouTube was already out there. I do not leverage YouTube that well because it takes some technical stuff that I just am not comfortable with. So I opt for the Facebook Lives because it takes as long as it takes. So if it's
Right.
a 3-minute video, it takes me 3 minutes.
And then you're done.
And then I'm
Go
done.
about your day.
And I really do, I call it Rachel's Riffs because I want it to be just that. I want to be able to just go, hey, I'm at my client's house. This is pretty cool. Last week they said they wanted to see what this project was. I'm just going to do a walkthrough and hit live and do a walkthrough. In 5 minutes, I'm done. I'm going on with my day. That is what works best for me.
Mm-hmm.
Lives have been a life changer, a game changer in my business for me. One thing, though, that you have to make sure is you almost have to be camera ready all day.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah. Yeah, because if you just roll out of bed, first of all,
unless you are
it.
Yeah, unless you are exceptionally cute out of bed. And my pixie is not cute. That is what does your pixie?
You remember those troll dolls? And you roll them and their hair just that's what I look like when I wake up in the morning.
That is
lucky.
When people do not, they always think, oh, your hair's so easy. And, if they would see my hair first thing, I have to shower every single morning because my hair is crazy.
Yes. And it's not something you can just brush down. Like there's no weight there to pull it down. You've got to get up and fix it. So yeah, no, I'm in that. Obviously, I'm in the same boat with you.
The other morning I got up, I was walking around the house and I just happened, I hadn't like brushed my teeth or gone to the bathroom or, even looked at myself. And I was like, I got a glimpse and I was like, oh my gosh, like I obviously lost the fight with my pillow last night. Like
I wonder sometimes what exactly I'm doing while I'm sleeping. So if you're going to be doing videos, you want to make sure that you do look presentable, which actually, okay, kind of a side thing, knowing that I want to look decent for my videos has helped me make sure that I'm getting up and getting stuff done, where otherwise I might kind of hem and haw and maybe just stay in my pajamas all day and not do anything, and I can just hide. And so it keeps me going to do that. But doing videos in the first place scared the crap out of me. Like I talked to, I don't think I've told you this story, Rachel, but when I was still living in Oklahoma, and this has been 2-3 years ago now, there was a gentleman there who is a business coach, and it was some weird networking thing that I'd gone to, and it was kind of creepy because afterwards he sent me a message and was like, hey, I'd really like to have coffee with you. And I'm like, But what it turned out to be was he said that he's a business coach, and he said, I don't know if you're ready for anybody. I wasn't at the time ready to make any big moves. But he said, I was watching you. And at a time when most people would just sit back, like a space had opened up, I got up and moved forward and sat there to be more a part of what was going on. He said, that really impressed me. And in the course of this really long story, just to say, in the course of this conversation, he said, I really think you should start making videos. And I was like,
really?
No way, not happening. Not this girl. It's never going to happen. He was like, I think you should. I think you should start. You don't have to share it with anybody at first, but I think you should start. And I think that within a year, you should be putting them online. And
ooh, you never told this to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I've got goosebumps thinking about it now.
Yeah. That's so crazy.
I was like, it's not going to happen. And then video on, I started with a blog post. I did a demonstration video. And that was the first video I ever did that I posted for all the world to see. But then in our design group, Rachel and I were part of the group, and we started talking about doing videos because it was all of a sudden becoming a thing on Facebook. And all of us were going, no. But we started doing them just in a group, just to each other, where nobody else could see. And the more that we did it, the better we got. And the next thing I knew, Miss Rachel over here was doing a 30-day live video challenge. And I thought, okay, I can.
You were a pretty early adopter on that.
I think it was within just a couple of days of seeing you. I was like, okay, I can do it. And I did. And now it doesn't feel anywhere near as weird or awkward or horrifically scary as I thought it was going to be. Now it's just kind of a, if I mess up something, I mess it up. I can do another take. Or if it's a live video and it's really bad, you can hit delete. And it's okay. But as a result, I've had videos that have been shared, I don't know how many times, that one little video has gotten almost 5,000 reach on Facebook. Like, it's 5,000 people it's been in their feed. That's crazy.
Unheard of on a
for
business.
Free.
On a business.
For free. I didn't pay a penny. It was for free.
Mm-hmm.
So getting in that uncomfortable zone of doing video is so worth it, because not just because of the reach on Facebook, but it's still another way to show who you are and to prove that you are an expert at what you do.
Exactly. I always say, I always tell people I'm really, really famous on my own Facebook page. Just want to let you know that.
My friends think I'm awesome.
I know. It's hilarious. If you're not doing videos, you really, really need to do it. And I'm hearing people just start to talk about blogging, and I'm like, blogging? That's so 2014.
And now, I don't know about you.
We got into blogging late. The bloggers that people know were blogging like 7 years ago.
I was kind of feeling like I was way behind the curve on the blogging.
I know. Video, you got to hop on the video.
Mm-hmm. And you can combine the blogging and the videos, because like I said, I've done several now at this point, blog posts, quote unquote blog posts, that really aren't blog posts. It's just a video, because sometimes it's easier to just sit there and talk to the screen than to write everything out, because if your brain works better that way, just do it. It makes it easier, and you can share it in multiple places. It doesn't have to just be a blog post.
I have done weeks when because blogging takes time. Let's just be real about that. You have to decide what you're going to talk about. I'm not really like a formatter, but you have to, you have to come up with whatever the points and all that.
Right.
And then you have to come up with images. So if you're not talking about a project where you've just taken photos and you have before and you have during and after images, you've got to go find those images. And so,
or make them.
Or you have to make it. I've done mood boards, or even just graphics using, but a lot of times I'm just searching and searching for images to go for with my.
It takes longer for me half the time to find images that I would like than it does to do the actual writing. And I'm a slow writer.
Yeah, it takes time. And then what happens with me is my editing happens really after I hit publish.
Okay, that might be part of my problem. Maybe I should publish a little sooner.
You should. There's something about having your blog out there live. You will catch those mistakes so quick. I'm like, really? I read this 5 times before I hit publish, and I didn't see any mistakes. But the minute I hit publish and it's live,
every time
I'm out glaring. So I always say I would do my best work. But anyway, I didn't mean to go back to the blog. But what I did mean to say is I have taken some of my live streams, because you can save them. And if I don't have a chance to blog, but I talked about something, like let's say I talked about a new project, I'll do a little, hey, I have this new project I'm working on. Here's a link to whatever, and I can embed that video into my blog. And then I've hit my weekly blog deadline and, reused a live video. So
exactly. It just makes life easier, really, when you have that option.
And, I have people that read my blog that aren't even on social media. So I can't assume that they know what's going on. And because I have a daily live stream, that doesn't work like that. So I'll take something, that was important or, not important to me, and move it over and use it as a blog post.
So the next step beyond the blog and the video is, now it's not as important. I will preface this. If you are strictly an e-designer, this probably isn't something that you need to worry really about at all. But if you are doing projects in person, you need to go meet people, whether that is joining BNI or your local chamber of commerce or just going and talking to whomever. You're going to have to go meet people. Now, if you're lucky and have lived in the same place all your life and you already know everybody, it may not be quite as important at that point. But otherwise, unless you were born a mover and a shaker, you probably are going to have to get out there and meet people. And if you don't know, Rachel and I are actually both introverts. We would much rather not be around groups of people for a long period of time if we can avoid it. So for both of us, going out and talking to people can be a little uncomfortable at times.
Absolutely.
I know it was for me. Part of it was public speaking was a big one for me. So one of the things I've actually done prior to this was I joined Toastmasters. Toastmasters is another great way to work on your public speaking and get to know people. So there are different organizations depending on what your skills are that you're missing out on that can help you. I love the BNI group that I'm in. It is fantastic. For those of you who don't know, it stands for something business, something networking, international. I don't know. It's a networking group. It's international. It has to do with business. I'm guessing that's what they stand for.
Yeah.
But it's great because you go each week, you get a chance to talk just a little bit about what you're looking for right now. It doesn't have to be the same thing every week. In fact, it's better if you change it up. I got to do a 10-minute presentation strictly on what it is, the kind of clients that I want. And it's just good because not only do you meet the people in your group, they refer you to people. You know people that way who know people who know people.
It's just like social media, but it's in person. It really is.
And depending on what your demographic is, certain age groups are going to be more comfortable getting a referral from someone that they know in person rather than just finding you on social media or just trusting your blog. Because not everybody's going to go to Houzz and search. Not everybody's going to go to Facebook and go, hey, I need a designer.
Right.
So it's an extra layer that really can feel super uncomfortable because I don't like going into a large group of people I don't know. But by forcing myself to do it, it has paid off tremendously. It has been so good. Yeah,
you're pretty busy with little meetups and coffees and consultations now.
Exactly.
So if and that's a lesson for new designers. You don't have to go out and land the big project. Yes, you do. But as a solo designer, we only have capacity for so many big projects. So we need to be realistic about, Dixie and I we've said before, we're in different stages. I have little ones where I have to drop them off at school and pick them up at 3 and give them healthy snacks and, do all that stuff, do the reading and do the homework. So that my capacity is not as that big. Dixie is, empty nester.
Yep.
Husband's retired. So there's more flexibility in her schedule, and it's really whatever she wants her schedule to be at this point.
The only people I have counting on me aren't even people. It's Sammy and Sadie, and they're dogs. So
exactly. So, you have to be realistic, but a lot of these networking places can get you consultations because there's a lot of mortgage people, there's a lot of real estate people. You could do home staging walkthrough consultations. You could do initial consultations for people who are relocating. And that is actually, there's a fourth point I want to bring up that I didn't talk to you offline about.
What?
But I know.
You're improvising?
Scandalous.
I'm so uncomfortable with this.
One of the things that I do is I keep some of my collateral in my car, and my collateral is my postcards, basically my postcards and business cards. And when I see a new development, and in my area, things have picked up again and started, there's a lot of building going on again. What I will do is I will walk into the sales office with some of my postcards and say, hi, I'm a designer. And, usually what they'll do is say, oh, we have somebody, they think you're looking for commercial design. But since I do residential redesign, I will explain to them, no, I understand you've got your model homes and they look beautiful and all that stuff. But my specialty is helping people use their existing stuff in a new space. And so if somebody is moving into these, coming into this building, if they're downsizing or whatever, I'm able to help them work their furnishings and whatever, and help them with move-in stuff. And they're like, oh, well, what you come to find out after you do a couple of these is the leasing offices have these welcome packets. I don't know if you know this. Did you know this, Dixie?
I had a feeling. I haven't dealt with a lot of them, but I had a feeling.
Yeah. So when they lease out or sell or whatever it is to a new client, what they'll do is they'll give them a whole packet on stuff in the neighborhood. There's your local bank. There's your local, and they can add you in as the local designer. And I have gotten leads and consultations from those. But that wouldn't have happened if when I leave the house, I'm video ready. So it means that I'm able to walk into, if the opportunity, I'm not going to say, oh, I look like whatever. Right. I can't walk into this space, and it's an energy thing too. It's like, you can't go in there and be like, hi, you can't go in there and not be confident, because you're always going to get resistance, because you're like that. There's like sitting ducks and you're that salesperson coming in. So really, if you feel moved to do that and go in, you have to be ready. And that's part of like the whole visibility. That's what I love. That's been sort of a byproduct of being camera ready every day, is I can confidently walk into a sales office and talk to some of the people there. Talk about really uncomfortable. That's super uncomfortable to go in and pitch yourself.
Oh yeah, which is probably why I haven't done it yet. No, I've actually gone into appliance places or furniture stores or anything. Furniture stores that don't have their own designers usually work better than the ones that do. But I've actually gotten a referral for a kitchen from a local appliance store because they wanted to do something different that none of the regular kitchen designers would do.
Right.
And so she called me, and I've had an initial consultation, and that was just last week. So I'm still waiting to hear what they've decided on that. But it really
uncomfortable pays off. Uncomfortable pays off. And eventually you can look back and say, was it fear or was it excitement?
Yeah, because those are hard to tell apart sometimes.
It's so hard to tell apart. It's a lot of times excitement gets disguised as fear. And so, but really you're excited. You're excited. Oh, there's a new prospect. Maybe I will go in and, let them know that I exist on the planet. And so and talking about, and just to wrap up everything that we talked about, I will also tell them, I have a podcast, I have a weekly blog, and I live stream daily on Facebook. So if, please feel free to go ahead and vet me a little bit. And, because I don't expect them to refer somebody that's just walked in off the street, but I have all this content. I can say, go ahead and check me out, because I'm super Googleable. I'm super, what a Google, is that a word?
We make up words all the time. I'm cool with it.
And even though they may not even go and look at that, but the fact that I let them know that all this information is out there about me, it positions you as an expert. And if they do, it is out there. It makes you legit.
Exactly.
So,
and
get visible, get uncomfortable.
Yes. And I will also say that talk to the tradespeople that are at different projects too. Just sitting there and having a conversation, a friendly conversation, really pays off at times too. Because like the Finnish carpenter at one of my projects, sat there and chatted with him one day. He was putting stair treads on and I couldn't go up until he finished. So I waited while he did the last two. But just chatting with him, and he's already referred me to 3 or 4 people.
Wow.
Just other projects he's been on, saying, hey, I met this designer. She seems really cool, blah, 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 blah. So just put yourself out there and
get in the uncomfortable zone.
Yep, because I got to say, I would much rather sit in my car than have to go and talk to people at times. Not all the time, but there are days when I feel like that. And so getting out there and talking to people pays off big time. So to recap.
Blog.
Get uncomfortable. Stay uncomfortable. Blog.
Get on video.
Network with people.
And give out, walk into, if you see an opportunity, go ahead and march right up.
Yep.
Go ahead and march right up and introduce yourself. Staying comfortable, y'all.
Exactly. Well, we want to thank you all for being here with us on this episode of Design+Style. And you can find us on Facebook at, oh no, I've forgotten it, Design+Style Podcast. I'll put it in the show notes, I promise. I'll put a direct link. At any rate, y'all
we'll make it easy for you to find us on Facebook.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye-bye.